It is chock full of samples and wall-to-wall yarn. I think there really could be an awesome opportunity to combine this 100% Hebridean with the Sith DK. Check it out. The techniques to making this sweater are funky. Bobbles upon bobbles upon bobbles. Hi, I'm Melanie and you're watching Yarn Journeys. Today's video is the long-awaited last in a three-part series about my recent trip to Scotland. The first was all about my trip to the Shetland Islands for Shetland Wool Week. The second followed my travels through the Highlands in the Glencoe region, as well as the Isle of Skye. And this last one will be about my visit to Edinburgh. I just heard a thump downstairs. I hope that didn't come through. I will take you with me as we visit one of Scotland's awesome yarn shops. And then we will go to a really great store to buy authentic wool and textile souvenirs that's right off the Royal Mile. We'll take a brief perusal through the lovely sights in Edinburgh, and then in the last part of the video I will give you an update about some recently completed projects as well as some in progress. So thanks for joining me. Welcome if you are new. It is an awfully snowy day out there. It just started snowing here in the DC area. And I'm really enjoying looking at the snowflakes come down in the window that is just on the other side of the camera. Just a little bit about what I'm wearing. This is my Inclinations shawl, a pattern by Andrea Mowry, but the yarn is my own hand spun that I spun last year, in 2023 for the Tour de Fleece. So it's a asymmetrical shawl and I don't always find that easy to style until at a yoga retreat recently, I picked up this guy here, which is actually a hairpin, but I really think it looks beautiful with this shawl. Anywho, enough with the opening stuff. Let's go visit Edinburgh, shall we? Edinburgh actually has a long historical relationship with the wool trade of Scotland. Now we think of Edinburgh as a hotspot for modern knitwear designers and influencers. It is the home of Isolde Teague, the designer of the famous Musselburgh hat, as well as a great writer about how to construct your knits, how to get them to fit. Rebecca Clow, the Creabea, that prolific knitwear designer, she also is from Edinburgh, as well as Amy Palco of The Meaningful Stitch. So I was excited to check out the wool scene, as it were, in this famous capital of Scotland. I visited two awesome places that I would like to share with you. The first is Kathy's Knits in downtown Edinburgh. It is a short walk, maybe 10 or 15 minutes off the sort of central touristy district near the Royal Mile. So Kathy's Knits is a little bit tucked away. You have to walk down a flight of steps to get into what we in the US, and particularly those in New York, are tempted to call kind of an English basement. I wonder what they call English basements in Great Britain. If you know, please let me know in the comments. Anyway, it is chock full of samples and wall-to-wall yarn. Kathy's Knits celebrates British and Scottish wool in particular, and they had a wonderful selection from near and far all over UK. In particular, they had lots of samples from Lucy Haig, that knitwear designer who is famous for reversible cables, particularly with a Celtic flair. Kathy's Knits had just a wonderful selection of yarn, and of course I had to pick out some to bring home with me. I picked out 5 skeins of Wist wool. Wist is the mill that is based in the Outer Hebrides. They produce wonderful yarn from flocks of sheep all over Scotland. So this is the Sith DK. It is undyed, and it is a combination of Cheviot and Hebridean. It is squishy. There's definitely a bit of a crisp feeling to it, maybe a little bit more than one would expect with Shetland, perhaps. And I was thinking that this is the Hebridean yarn I got on the, whoa, that is really throwing off the light. This is the Hebridean yarn that I picked up on the Isle of Skye. I think there really could be an awesome opportunity to combine this 100% Hebridean with the Sith DK for a wonderful garment in some sort of color work design. So I've been looking at a few on Ravelry, perhaps like this one. Stay tuned. Perhaps I will be putting this on my needles sometime soon. At Kathy's Knits, I also bought this book, Handy Woman, by Kate Davies, which is a wonderful, wonderful book. I do not think it is available in the States. So this book tells the story from the first person perspective of how Kate Davies recovered from a devastating stroke, how she worked through both the physical and spiritual stages of coming back from that stroke, and how it both became a source of inspiration and an opportunity. I hope I'm doing justice to how this book is inspiring and a great story about how fiber arts can be just more than something you do to keep yourself entertained while watching TV. Highly recommend. I am aware of Ginger Twist Studio, which is another world famous yarn shop based in Edinburgh. Unfortunately, because I only had a couple days in the city, I didn't make it over to Ginger Twist. However, there's always next year. So next we will go to the Scottish Textiles Showcase. This is a wonderful shop that is right off the Royal Mile, and they are dedicated to supporting the local artisans in Scotland who are crafting traditional textiles in an authentic way. All over Scotland, you will see shops. There's a number of different chains of souvenir stores, and they have a lot of Harris tweed made things. You know, they have fridge magnets, tartans. Hey, I for sure have been known to buy my fair share of kitschy souvenirs and fridge magnets. But the Scottish Textiles showcase is very different, and it is the best place I came across to buy beautifully made souvenirs for loved ones and family. They have beautiful Scottish wool yarn milled in Scotland for sale. Placards throughout the store tell you how the items are traditionally Scottish and what is special about them. These greeting cards are just adorable. You can get Fair Isle coasters knit by Hazel Tyndall, and Alma Stove knits hats and gloves for Scottish Textiles showcase. They have genuine Scottish cashmere and Shetland wool sweaters, and these carpet bags from the Anta Mill. The owner, Kitty, was wonderful in spending time with me and showing me all around the store. Their Harris tweed garments were beautiful and also modern. The display makes you feel connected to the makers on the Isle of Harris. They also had some wood crafts tucked away next to the register. I was in there much longer than I thought I would be, so my husband had the opportunity to take this great picture through the window with a big smile on my face. I bought a whole bunch of these little bags made with authentic Harris tweed. They have the very important little label on the inside. They have really nice zippers. These are perfect as coin purses, place to put a compact and a lipstick. I also got a couple in this larger size, so that, this could be a small project bag. I'm hoping the camera is picking up the subtlety in this Harris tweed. They're really beautiful. These are made specifically by the Scottish Textile Showcase. It is a more affordable way of bringing home some of that beautiful Harris tweed magic. They do say made in Scotland. The other item I purchased at the Scottish Textile Showcase was one of the beautiful carpet bags. As soon as I walked into the store, I was thinking, that is gorgeous and I want one. It is too deep to be a project bag. I have been using this one as a tote for going out shopping, or, if I am trying to carry more than just what typically fits in my purse. Has a little pocket there for my phone. And it is made in Scotland at the Anta Woolen Mill. And it is very tweedy, very, very woolly. It is also very sturdy, as I can attest from using it as my principal carry-on bag as I was flying home from Scotland. Love this bag, and I am using it a ton. I really can't say enough about how much I enjoyed my visit to the Scottish Textiles Showcase. So let's go see a little bit of Edinburgh, shall we? Nothing says Scotland like a bagpiper. The Princess Street Gardens set off the gorgeous Edinburgh skyline, of which the castle is definitely the star. And nothing says UK like a red telephone box. This one's defunct and someone has put in some fun decorations. You can find whimsy all over Edinburgh, even tucked into the traditional architecture. They do take their pubs very seriously, however. And at this one, the pie and the mince and tatties did not disappoint. And there's no shortage of yummy baked goods in Edinburgh. The Waters of Leith walkway was a great way to take in the fall foliage as well as some of the older parts of the Edinburgh city. The city shows itself off best at night, with Castle Hill all lit up and Edinburgh Castle shining like a beacon. If you are enjoying the video, please go down below and hit that like button. It will really help this video find people just like you who might enjoy the video as well. Thank you so much. I do appreciate it. So I have so much to tell you about in terms of works in progress and finished objects. So let's get right into that. We're going to start with spinning, actually. If you are a spinner, you are often told to rewind your bobbins when you are spinning worsted, which is kind of, until now for me, a bit tricky as to how to get that done efficiently. Well, Dreaming Robots, the creator of the electric eel wheel e-spinners, they have free 3D printing patterns or templates, I don't know what you call them, that you can download, and if you have a 3D printer, you can make your own rewinding bobbins. Well, luckily for me, my nephew is a college senior in engineering, and he loves to 3D print things. So I had him print 3 of these rewinding bobbins, and they have this piece here which fits into a drill bit. You can rewind the bobbin off your wheel onto one of these guys using a power drill. There we go. The reason why you might want to do that is so that the fibers which you have been smoothing painstakingly in one direction, that you're not spinning them or plying them back against the grain, so to speak. And it's to preserve the shine that and the smoothness that you got when spinning the singles. Well, I have finished this gorgeous 2-ply yarn that I made with BFL and Tussa silk from the 100th Sheep. I bought this in Santa Fe the fall of 2023, and check it out. This is, it's got that squishiness and fluffiness still from the BFL, but the silk sheen is so preserved. And I will definitely be making some sort of shawl or drapey item out of this. I think this is what you would call light fingering. I find as I spin more and more that my default yarn is getting thinner and thinner. I don't know if that's a good or a bad thing. I think it's a normal thing, actually. But I am, you know, it's red, so hello, favorite color. But just look at the richness of it and the sheen. So big thank you to my nephew for printing these out for me, and also thanks to Dreaming Robots for making those files free. Oh, one thing to note, the part that goes in the drill bit pops off, so that when you put it in the Lazy Kate, you don't have something in the hole. So really great design. I will put a link to the printables file in the show notes. I am so pleased to share that I finished my autumn Alpine. In a previous video, I shared with you the fear that it wasn't going to fit that great and that it might just be kind of a lumpy sweatshirty kind of thing. Totally not the case. I know some people in the past have quibbled about Caitlin Hunter's fit issues, but really this is wonderful. I'm gonna put it on. I am finding this so flattering. It really fits me well in the shoulders, gives me plenty of space for the arms to move around. I did shorten the arms by like about an inch because I've got little T-Rex arms, and it really fits perfectly. Now, one thing I do not like the bottom edges of my sweaters to squish in. So I actually knit the edge with the same needle that I knit the body so that it would just be nice and smooth. And I don't believe it splays out. Now, if I turn to the side, I hope you can see that there are short rows that make the back dip down, which I personally am finding quite flattering. It looks really great with pants. And I didn't realize that until I knit this sweater, how flattering the design feature of putting some short rows on the back and therefore dipping the back hem was going to be. I'd never done that on another sweater, and I think I'm going to be adding that in on sweaters in the future. In fact, I absent-mindedly put in too many short rows. This was not on purpose. I did it by mistake. Oops. But I actually think that was a great idea. Ripping out short rows is not my favorite. So I was like, too many short rows. You know, okay, fine. And actually, that was wasn't a well thought out decision, but I'm really pleased with how this sweater fits and how it looks. You know, you might like less ease, you might like a different kind of hem, but for me, this suits me fine. I have another finished garment to show you, and that is my version of the Cocoknits Flynn vest. Now, I saw this pop up on Ravelry, I think in late November, and I thought, what a great idea, because I have a habit of wearing around the house on fall and winter days fleece vests like this one. This is from Uniqlo, if you're familiar with that brand. It is made out of poly fleece, which is of course plastic. And, you know, as a wool evangelist, the Flynn vest, which is basically making a fleece zipper vest, but with wool, well, that just sounded like a great idea. Whoops. So here is my Flynn vest. Now, this is made with the Cocoknits knitting method, and I had never done a Cocoknits project before. It is a contiguous knit, meaning like it's one of those dealios where you knit part of the upper back and then do shoulders, and the Cocoknits method is well documented, so I won't try and replicate that here. I could not be more happy with the finished object. This zipper vest, it's got pockets, generous ones. I mean, I wouldn't they're a bit, well, knit pockets are always a little bit dicey. And in fact, what I might do is put some sort of edging to give them a little bit of structure. The techniques to making this sweater are funky. I mean, I did all sorts of things I've never done before. The technique for making the pockets is well, you do it with short rows, and the way the lining is made, it is something else. Would I do it again? No. It's a bit fussy for my liking. There's times when I like fussy, and there's times when I really don't. Like I said, I am really happy with this finished object. Will I knit another one? Hell no. Why? Because the main yarn is super bulky boucle. So I actually have one skein of the yarn right here. Now the pattern is made on a verb for keeping warm wool and alpaca blend boucle. I really wanted to try making this, but I really didn't want to spend that kind of money on, let's just say it's expensive because it's hand dyed. So I went on to Yarn Sub, and wouldn't you know it, Valley Yarns has an exact match. Now, Valley Yarns is the home brand of Webs, and this is their Chester. It was, I rarely see Yarn Sub recommend a closer match, so I was like, bingo. And I also bought it when Chester was on sale. So, anywho, can I just say that super bulky boucle is a total pain in the ass to knit with. And yes, I am speaking strongly because I found out even when I was doing the swatch that the main issue is that when you drop a stitch, and because it's got alpaca in it, it's a bit slick. It's really hard to tell what's the stitch versus what's a loop of the boucle, because sometimes, I mean, check this out. Like, that could look like a stitch. So if you, and what is wonderful about the boucle is that it hides all sorts of mistakes. But that also means it's really hard to find your mistakes so you can fix them. So if you drop a stitch and you haven't realized it for 3 rows, oh boy. And ripping it back is just, well, that is not fun either. I persevered. This was probably one of the least fun knits I've ever done, mainly because of the difficulty in working with the boucle, and it's like super sticky. So when you are doing what is supposed to be a stretchy bind off, the boucle loops kind of stick to each other, and it ends up being actually a super stiff bind off. I did some things to make this sweater workable, of which I am not that proud, but the good thing is that this fabric hides all manner of sins. If this were knit up in a smooth yarn, it would look horrible, but you can't tell, and I will not be pointing out to you where I did my less than kosher fixes. You might think that sewing in a zipper, and I hand sew in my zippers, that sewing in a zipper is just taking it too far, and you might be like, oh no, I'm not sewing in no zipper. Well, honestly, that was one of the most straightforward parts of this project. And a good zipper sew in always makes me happy. Given the rate at which the snow is coming down, I have a feeling I'll be wearing this a lot in the coming week. Now to my main work in progress, which is the Fearless sweater. This is a pattern by Haesemeyer. It originally was published in Rodam magazine in the fall of 2022. And I saw this pop up on Ravelry and I immediately fell in love. And I just thought, I need to knit this sweater. And I have almost done the back. You probably can't fail to notice the bobbles upon bobbles upon bobbles. And yes, knitting this project is taking a lot of time. I've been working on the back probably for the past 5 weeks. I probably will not finish this sweater until it is springtime. I am working monogamously on this, meaning I've got no other knitting projects going on because I want to knit this sweater. I want to wear it. And my fear is if that I picked up something else, that this would be a lingering whip that I would never finish. The baubles do take some perseverance, but they are so pretty. This sweater was designed with La Bien Aimé's Corey Worsted in mind. Corey Worsted in the US sells for $38 a skein. And I was gonna need almost 2,000 yards because these baubles eat. I mean, they eat yarn. So, I mean, this thing has got some heft to it from all the yarn. I am not knitting it with Corey Worsted because I couldn't afford it. Instead, I am going to good old faithful Cascade 220. This is one of their Heather's colors, and it's color 1039, which I believe is Heliobor. I will put the shade name down here. Cascade 220 is great yarn. It is consistent. It has got beautiful stitch definition. These Heathers have really nice, soft melange of colors in there. It's squishy. Cascade 220, great yarn. I knit a lot of it when I did my level 1 for the TKGA Master Hand Knitter. And I am getting very close to gauge with it. So you'll see this in my project updates for a long time to come. Because, this is a big work. But I know I want it. Let me know what you think. Would you take on this kind of a sweater? And yeah, it's going to be seamed, which is a whole nother ball of wax. We'll get there when we get there. Well, that's all that I have got to share with you today. But please be sure to subscribe if you haven't already, because I have some fun stuff coming up. Yeah, I know that I am not the fastest at getting the videos out, but last month I was busy. I was in Morocco and I was doing some really cool stuff and diving deep into the textiles and fiber art scenes in Morocco. And this is going to be a very fun and exciting episode, and you will not want to miss it. Thank you so much for spending time with me, and I hope to see you in the next one.